Welcome to the Black Mental Health Forum, a dedicated space for fostering meaningful conversations, support, and resources around mental health within the Black community. Our forums aim to break down the barriers of silence and stigma, providing a platform for open dialogue, shared experiences, and valuable insights. Whether you're seeking guidance, resources, or simply want to engage in a supportive community, you're in the right place. Together, let's nurture a culture of understanding, compassion, and empowerment. Thank you for joining us on this journey towards mental health well being. Welcome to the Black Mental Health Forum. This is Carolyn J. And today I'm spotlighting peers. And our guest is Marta Hernandez, who is a peer. And she has blessed us with her presence to give us the insight on peers on the mental health side. Marta?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to be part of this wonderful conversation about certified peer recovery specialist, which is something that I am. Thank you.
Is there anything you want to say besides your introduction before we start digging in some of these questions?
I work as a supervisor at Alliance Healthcare Services. I've been working for Alliance for about 10 years. And I just love my job. I love what I'm doing. And I'm also an arts teacher. Yes.
Thank you. All right. Question number 1. And it's in reference to lived experience connections. Can you give us a lived experience connection in reference to the mental health challenges or triumphs that you've experienced?
Okay.
A lived experience connection. So I guess in your career of being a peer, have you connected with anyone, whether it was a fellow peer or maybe a client that was unique or authentic in their recovery journey?
I have met many peers that have been in recovery throughout my years of being a peer specialist. Yeah, I have many connections. I have many people that I know, which is actually the reason why I am in the position that I am right now, because they inspire me to be a peer myself. Yes.
Okay. Any one of them stand out to you the most of your different connections?
I think the one that really inspired me the most was the one that showed me what a peer was and model what a peer was. And that was back in 2004, I believe. Yes. And she was the reason why I decided to be a peer specialist. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And you spoke, you said modeled. Where did you meet this person?
Well, back in 2002, I had a crisis, and while I was going through my recovery, I was referred to this program where they use peer specialists as people that go to their homes and talk to people and, just help them in whatever they can. And I met this peer. I remember her name is Yvonne, and she came to my house. And at the beginning, I didn't know what a peer specialist was, but she showed me that even though the doctor told me that I was never going to be able to work anymore, she showed me that at least I have a little hope, while seeing that there was someone that had a lived experience and was also working, full time at that time. So yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right. So what does a peer specialist typically do? That may be hard to answer because I know we can work in various places doing various things.
Hmm. So I think some of the things that a peer specialists do is they empower people that are living with behavioral health challenges and to receive help from someone who's been there, someone that has walked the walk. So I believe that one of the things that we do is empower people to believe that even though they have a situation, a mental health situation, that they can still recover, even though they're facing that right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Uh, how do you connect with people at different stages of recovery? You may not have a set plan, um, but in different stages of their recovery. You can just give an
Mhm.
example.
Sure. One of the most important things that a peer can do is meet people where they are and not making conclusions on how long a recovery should take, because everybody's recovery is personal. It's your personal journey, it's your personal challenge. So by meeting people where they are and acknowledging and knowing that even though right now we cannot see maybe a positive side, or maybe the future, believing that by meeting them where they are, we can encourage them and empower them to to have a better chance to get out of the situation, or at least recover in a way that they can handle any situation. Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Can you share a powerful, um, can you share a story of a person that you saw regaining control of their lives in their recovery journey? Have you
Wow.
experienced? Yeah.
As someone that works as a peer specialist and supervise a peer support center, I have seen many, many stories of people that have been. But I remember this gentleman, and I can use their name because of privacy. But I remember this gentleman who was in one of the peer support housing um, within Alliance, and this person. He started as a client. He went to all the groups. He learned everything he uh, that he wanted to learn, and he was so empowered that he applied for a job within the company, and then he started um, working as a peer specialist, serving those that
Mm,
used to live with him, and used to be friends with him. So yes, absolutely, that was a magnificent recovery story, and I have many many stories like that, but this was one that I think this was the first one that I experienced that
okay.
really, really empower me and encourage me to continue to do the work that I'm doing. Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome, and
Yes.
it's wonderful to see, uh, rec- I guess, beautifully recovering in
Yes.
that manner.
Absolutely.
Because I deem us as I call hope dealers,
Hmm.
because we restore the hope that
Hmm.
has been drained out of a number of people by life,
Hmm.
and even some of the people around us due
Hmm.
to stigma of mental health.
Absolutely.
So to be a person of lived experience is very important, because people nowadays feel so detached from other people. And
Hmm.
so when you do come across somebody that share your lived experience, it is refreshing. I agree with you.
Yes.
Um, how do you support without imposing solutions?
Okay. This one is a tough one. Now we have to remember that we are not whenever we're speaking with someone, it's not us. It's their position, it's them. So, but it requires a delicate balance of empathy. Putting yourself in their shoes, active listening to what they're saying, trying to understand without judgment, um, and empowering, asking questions that encourage them to explore their own thoughts, their own feelings, so they can discover their own solutions to the problems that they're facing. So I think it requires a lot of empathy, a
Mhm.
big empathy balance to be able to do that. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Because I know being a peer and working as a peer, we are required to facilitate groups. And even though I went in it, not even wanting to do it because just being shy or timid, but I grew to love it. I
Yes.
grew to love it because I had to pray and ask the Lord, okay, how do I approach this?
Yes.
And so the Lord had to take me back to elementary.
Yes.
So the way that I did my groups, I just used pictures.
Mhm.
And so, and I know pictures is, more than 1,000 words. And so that was part of, I guess, my storytelling in facilitating the groups. I made a packet and I gave it to everybody, and just having the pictures there, and then we just discussed it. We just went around the room, and to be freely to have someone to just open up was a big deal.
Yes.
That's a big deal. And
Yes.
so it was in hopes that the pictures would spark the conversation.
Absolutely. Yes. And you know what? We have to meet. When I said we have to meet everyone where they are, we have a client right now that he can hear and he can speak, and so having him in our peer support center has been a little challenging, but at the same time, we have found ways to um, help him understand what we're teaching, what we're facilitating. Like you said, we give away brochures, or we give away something that is visual for him to answer the questions. We write the questions, for him in a piece of paper. So yeah, it's when we do peer support, it's very important that you count everyone, not just count them as a whole, like a whole group, but counting individually, because everyone has an individual need, you know? Yes.
Yeah, I do agree. Do you um have you ever helped anybody navigate the mental health systems?
Mm, all the time.
Okay.
All the time. Okay, so the way that we do it is we provide information. Of course, that's one of the most important ones. Provide information if they have a need. We assess that need. And then we offer guidance. Sometimes there's some clients that are more vulnerable and they need more guidance than others. Others, you give the information and they follow themselves. They do it themselves. But some people need guidance. We also assist with paperwork if they need to fill an application, or if they need us to call someone. We do that, and we also follow up after our talk, after our visits, or whatever. We follow up. How are you doing? How did the information help you? How did it help you? Were you able to access the needs that you were having? And but I think the most important thing that a peer can offer is patience and support. That's one of the things that a peer can actually share with someone that will benefit more than an information or access a need. Mhm.
Which further leads us into this the other two questions, peer led support groups. Um, what's the role of a peer led support group for CPRS?
Oh, wow. Well, uh, peer-led support groups provide a safe and understanding space for people that, want to share experiences. Some of these experiences are very personal. And while they're sharing that, they receive mutual support, and they also foster a sense of community uh, in the mental health recovery journey. So they feel like they're being heard and that they have been supported by the group. And also they listen to other people's stories and they can relate to them, and that helps them a lot.
Mhm.
Yes. Mhm.
Yeah, I did say that I really enjoyed facilitating the groups. I really did, um, and the groups were vastly different because we're supposed to teach life skills or living skills,
Mhm.
um, even if it's just encouraging them to speak up for themselves,
Yes.
as you said earlier.
Yes.
Um, but challenges and rewards. What are some challenges that CPRS often face? And how do you handle? You can give one, and maybe how do you handle it?
Well, I cannot speak for all CPRSs, but I can speak for me. And one of my challenges that I face almost daily is boundaries, personal boundaries.
Mhm.
Because while I'm providing an empathetic support, which I managed to establish, I established clear boundaries and practices of self-care, so that because I take people with me when I go home, I mean mentally, not physically. I tend to take people and people's problems and my peers' problems with me, so I have to balance, and I have to balance my personal boundaries so that I don't do that, because that is a way for you to self-care, and also you prevent burnout, because when you take other people's, I mean, when you take your work home, you're more likely to be burnt out than when you leave it at the door and just come home and deal with whatever situation you have at home. Yes, absolutely.
Rewarding. Think about rewarding. What is
Mhm.
a rewarding moment for you? I'm pretty sure you've had several.
Mhm.
Uh, what is a rewarding moment for you?
Wow. For me, it's witnessing the positive impact of peer support on individuals with mental health journeys, and seeing them, regain hope and resilience, and a sense of empowerment. That's, I think, the most amazing thing that could happen to me, that I have witnessed, is when you have somebody that is in this cocoon, and all of a sudden they come out, and they just flourish. And that's one of the most empowering things that I have experienced. Yes. And rewarding things. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
Mhm.
And the holistic approach. And
Mhm.
then the question is, how does CPRS consider all aspects of mental health?
Okay, I believe by adopting a holistic approach
Mhm,
that acknowledges the interconnectedness, the
mhm.
physical, emotional, the social, and the spiritual well-being. We need to do this. I know that in my story, it wasn't into, I added my spiritual journey to my recovery, that I actually experienced recovery. And so it's so important that we approach all the connections or the aspects of our mental health. Not only the, because some people have the physical and maybe the emotional, but maybe they don't have the social one, which we need to, because we need support, and spiritual one, maybe they have spiritual trauma, or and so but to me, implementing all of those together was the approach that helped me the most. Yes.
And I totally agree. But unfortunately, um, we live in a society now where we really can't speak about our faith because
Mhm.
so many different religions out there.
Mhm.
But I know for me, when I facilitated the groups, and I will give a piece of my history, my testimony. Um, and so one of the things that I always led with when we ended up talking about the faith aspect of it was that for me, I'm a believer.
Mhm.
And like you said, once I really started concentrating on the faith part of me, the spiritual side of me, the healing really did truly take root. But so I would say, so normally I would say that, whatever your spiritual belief is, grab hold to it and embody it along with the things that we are sharing in here.
Mhm.
And so I wouldn't alienate anyone. But you're right. It's, like I said, we live in a time now where you really can't speak about your faith. They actually prohibit it. But
Mhm.
a lot of the times the clients will bring it up themselves. And yeah.
Me as a Christian, I have to acknowledge that religion has hurt many people. And I'm talking religion. I'm not talking about a spiritual connection with God. I'm not talking about a relationship with God. I'm speaking religion. Um, because I was church hurt. I was church hurt because I was experiencing a mental health condition while I was serving at church, while I was being a leader at church, while I was being a worship leader at church and preaching to other women and doing all these things. But at the same time, I was experiencing depression and anxiety. I was experiencing hearing voices, and I was experiencing seeing things, that people were not seeing. So I was judged a lot. I was said to be a weak vessel. I was said to be someone that was not strong enough. And so there was a lot of confusion because I was like, okay, how can I be serving God and doing all these things and at the same time, feeling this way that I'm feeling, having suicidal thoughts like almost every day, you know? So yeah, I was very hurt by many churches that I attended, that kind of cast me out, because of my condition. And so yeah, so I acknowledge that there is a lot of people that have been hurt, and therefore because of that, the state does not allow us to speak openly. But I think one of the best things that happened was moving to the south. There's more, there's less resistance when speaking about faith. And so to which even the Department of Mental Health has a faith-based initiatives, which is great. So in ways, we just have to be careful what we say, try not to trigger anyone, because there has been people that have been abused and used in religious, you know, places. So yes, absolutely. It's a hard topic to talk about,
It
you know.
really is. It really is. What about continuous education? Once you become a peer, are there classes and things that we still need to take to maintain our certification?
Absolutely. To maintain our credentials, the CPRS are required to educate themselves by approaching evidence-based curricula. Every year, we must submit to the Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services proof that we continue our growth in topics like ethics, and cultural competencies, trauma informed care, evidence based treatment modalities, so that we can continue to provide support and advocacy for people that are facing mental health challenges. Yes.
And I think that led into the question I had, which mental health topics are essential to stay updated on? And I think you just named them. Can you rename them for me?
Well, I have ethics, I have advocacy, cultural competence, trauma informed care, and anything that is evidence based treatment like RAP, illness management. You can also do the bridges, you can also do anything that is place based, like, oh, I took something that is called New R, nutrition, exercise, wellness, and recovery. Like anything that is evidence based, it has to be evidence
Okay.
based. It have to be proven that there is some data there that says that this is a working method. It cannot be something that is just took from the internet or Google or none of that. It has to be something that is evidence based. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Uh, is there a piece of advice or two for aspiring peers that you want to give, being that you're a supervisor, you've been in this thing for what, 10, 12 years? Is there some advice that you want to give to the peers?
Sure, absolutely. I think that if you want to be a peer, but you're coming to a peer position for the means of money, it's not going to work. You need to have a heart. You need to have love. You need to have empathy. You need to have patience. And mostly, you have to know how to use your recovery story to instill in people's hope and to empower them and to encourage them. Um, Peer support is one of the most amazing careers that a person can have. Not only because it helps you grow, but it also helps somebody else grow. And I think that's the best thing that can happen in community. Yes, absolutely.
And it's awesome you talked about the money factor,
Hmm.
because not everybody, well, it's now that so many years have passed since they've instituted peers, a lot of people had such a negative frame of mind when it came to peers, and the wages are quite low.
Yes, they are.
Um, um, but the importance of being a peer has now been shown. Um, so there are various places that we can be hired. But as we had a conversation some time ago, there's not enough places
Hmm.
because there are aspiring peers that have taken the journey of becoming a peer, but they cannot finish because there's not enough of places to hire or um, get the experience. Um, do you have any possible solutions?
Well, there has been very creative ways to be able to obtain your 75 hours, and because I have done it with people, and other people's have done it with other people that I know. But to be able to continue with the education of being a peer, you need to maintain at least 20, I think it's 20 hours per year. And sometimes working remotely can help, as long as you have a supervisor that supervise you. I believe is they have to supervise you once a week. It could be by Zoom, by phone, and also I believe it's every 3 months, they have to be in person with you and seeing you doing something in person. So there's many ways that peer has done that. I have done Zoom calls where peers have been teaching from wherever they are to the group of people that I have at my job. and that way they can get their hours, the hours that they need. I connect with them, once a week via Zoom or via phone call, and then every 3 months they visit the center and they do it in person. And so, yeah, that's how I help them. Just have to be creative. You just
Yeah.
have to be
That's
creative. Yeah,
awesome.
but it can be
That's
done. It can be done. Yes.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And that's the awesome thing is that you have somebody willing to help in that area.
Yes.
Because if you come across somebody who's not willing to go that extra mile, like you have displayed or demonstrated, then that leaves that person still just stuck.
And the challenge that I'm facing is that there's so much demand on peer specialist positions that sometimes I cannot do it with everyone because I already have, like right now, I have 3 different volunteers at my job. And so sometimes the demand is so much. There's so many people that are looking for jobs or that are looking for volunteer positions within the peer careers, and there is no places that they can do, and not everybody's willing to do Zoom, or not everybody's willing to give volunteers positions, or there's always something, but there are creative ways that you can do. And always talk to the Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse issues, and they will guide you to what you could do. As long as you are doing everything by the book, they don't have any problem with it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
And going back to the money issue, um, I thought about you, it has to be mission over money.
Mhm.
So, um, unfortunately, the society, some people still don't deem peers as important or the work that we do. Um, but one thing that I have found coming into this is that the peers are like a bridge between the doctors and the clients.
Mhm.
And it was initially, from just lack of better words, it was initially started because doctors have just kind of detached themselves. So the social side of the doctors were not there,
Mhm.
and the peers was the go between the doctor and trying to encourage the client or the peer to take their medication and go to the groups because it's their recovery journey. It was unfortunate that the doctor um, could not relay that information in such a way that was, for lack of a better word, that would encourage them to do it. It was coming off harsh.
Well, it's because some of them, I'm not going to say all, but some of them have not been there. And so when you haven't been in someone's shoes, it's kind of not that easy to relate to what they're going through. And so, but I think many doctors and therapists have found that the importance of peer support. I know that even working with people that are not peer oriented, when I start speaking about the importance of being a peer and what a peer does, and all of that, and also when they see the stories that come out of that, then people start seeing differently. I know that the way for us to be able to um, let people know how important our work is through sharing, and continue to share and never stop sharing. I think it's one of the most important things. And share the good things, share the positive things, the successes. Where this peer was and now where he is. And I remember that I I remember that I was having difficulty with my therapist because, well, he was atheist and I was Christian. And also, I thought that he couldn't understand what I was going through. And it wasn't until he opened up with me and he told me that he know what hearing voices is because he got an accident, and the accident did something on his brain that he used to hear this voice telling him all the time, "Are you going to do this?" And it was a very annoying voice. And he was like, "I know what hearing voices is. So I know how you're struggling." And it wasn't until he shared that part that I was able to open up with him and tell him more about what I was experiencing, because now I know this man knows I am hearing voices. He knows how I'm feeling when I'm hearing the voices. You know what I mean? So yeah, we need to share. We need to share with everyone how important it is, and that the job that we do is important for other peers. Yes.
And I appreciate you sharing that, um, because when you were talking, I heard huge barriers.
Yes.
So a lot of things can become a barrier, but it's just up to us to be sensitive
Mhm.
in the spirit
Mhm.
to be able to recognize it and maybe go a different direction.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think he sensed that I was not going to open up with him unless I have some information on him. Now, it's important that we do not lie about. Um, I A person with a mental health condition doesn't mean that they are dumb. A person with a mental health condition will know that you're lying. Will know that you're lying. I don't know how, but I know that when he said that to me, I knew he was telling me the truth, and I was able to open up with him. So yes.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for spending time with us, giving us the insight of a peer on the mental health side of it.
Mhm.
Because me being a peer, it was very important that I highlight peers, to show the importance of the work that we do,
Mhm.
and to show that, as we said earlier, it's mission over money. Our mission is to restore the hope
Mhm.
in people that have lost some hope, because it's your hope that keeps you going. It's
Mhm.
your hope that keeps you from actually, um, carrying out the plan
Yes.
to harm yourself.
Yes.
So it's important for inspiring peers and even current peers. If you have become what, desensitized,
Mhm.
go back. Go back and remember why you became a peer, because your actions and your words can harm others.
Absolutely. That is such a big truth. You can hurt someone by trying to help them. And the way that sometimes we can do that is if we are not ready to become a peer. I think everybody should focus on that before applying for a job as a peer. Make sure that your triggers and your recovery has been complete. Not to the point that you're perfect and all that, but at least that you are in a place where you can help others. Because how can you help others if you cannot help yourself? So yes, it's so important.
Yeah. And so it means doing the work, doing
Mhm.
your self work.
Mhm.
And that's the self care, the different various classes that
Mhm.
we need to, take to stay current and up to date.
Absolutely,
Um,
yes.
and then, and even further, if you get to the point where you are being triggered, you need to let your supervisor know, hey, this person is triggering me with the things that they're doing or the things that they're saying, and then actually taking off.
Absolutely.
You
They
don't
always
have to just,
recommend us. Yes. Especially when you're teaching a curriculum. If you don't feel like like you can serve or do something, just, you know, pull yourself out of that situation. And one of the most important things that a peer can do, also have a great relationship with their supervisor. You don't need to share everything, but you do need to share when you're not up to take a responsibility at your job. And my supervisor and I had a very good relationship where I can call her and I can tell her, you know what, I'm sorry, I cannot do this group right now. I have told her, I cannot deal with clients, and I just stay in the office and do paperwork, for whatever situation. And there's always that conversation and communication with us. And so it's very important that peers do that with their supervisors. Absolutely, yes. Mhm.
awesome. Awesome. Again, I appreciate your time, your expertise, your knowledge on this subject, this very delicate subject. The this position is needed. Um, if you could say one thing to an employer that wants to hire a peer, or that employer that's looking to hire peers, what would you say to them?
Not be afraid. Don't be afraid. You know, we the reason why we are peer specialists is because we have lived experience. Um, and with our lived experience, we have um, success stories of people that, because they have spoken to someone that have they've experienced, that been there, that have been in their shoes, they can recover quickly. And so don't be afraid. Trust in the process. Trust in the process of being a peer. Be connected with them. Ask them questions. We will not get offended if you ask us questions. And try to learn as much as you can about peer support. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank
Uh,
you.
this has been a very enlightening and well-to-do and conversation. And hopefully, this podcast will get out there, and the right people will see it, hear it, and help them to move forward in the process, whether it's an employer who's looking to hire or an aspiring peer. So just getting the mindset in order to get into this field is very important. So I thank you for sharing your stories with us, and please don't be a stranger.
No,
Come again.
no, thank you for inviting me. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak about what I love the most, which is peer support. I don't consider myself um, working. I consider myself this a mission that God has for me, and so that's what I try to do: help everyone that I can. So thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. All right. You hear it. You hear that being a peer is very rewarding. Hopefully, you will take any of this information and move forward. Until the next episode, have a good one.
Thank you for being a part of today's Black Mental Health Forum. We hope this session has been enlightening and empowering. If so, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Remember, your mental health matters, and reaching out for support is a sign of strength. If you have any questions, need resources, or want to continue the conversation, feel free to contact us. Let's keep the dialogue going, break the silence, and together build a healthier, more supportive community. Until next time, take care and prioritize your well being.